Pocket FM.
To unlock all the episodes, click the link in bio.
I have a question, Vorden said. How did you figure out what we were up to? I planted a listening device into Peter's wristwatch when you asked me to make adjustments. I felt like you were hiding something, so this was the best cause of action. It's okay. Logan, are we still friends? Quinn asked. We're friends? Logan replied with an odd look on his face. Of course. Friends help each other out, and you've helped me more than ever, Quinn explained. Well, if that's the case, this seems to be a one-way friendship, since you haven't helped out with anything at all yet, Logan replied. You're right, Quinn said. I haven't helped you when you helped me so much. You know that briefcase from before? Well, my system says it was made by Richard Eno. The biggest worry looming over their heads had finally disappeared, but that didn't mean they were completely in the clear. While Vorden and Peter had decided to go back to their rooms, Quinn decided he would go visit the girls and update them on the situation. After a knock on the door, he spoke through the door to confirm it was him, and the three of them then went for a walk down the hallway while Quinn explained everything that happened. So, he won't have to eat humans anymore, and there is no need to get involved with that Vex kid again? Good, Aaron said. Still, after Quinn had told them everything, Layla could tell that something else was on his mind. What's wrong? Is there another problem? She asked. Quinn then proceeded to tell them the situation with Duke, how they desperately wanted Peter to learn the level 4 Earth ability by the end of the week. The major problem was Peter didn't have an Earth ability, and he was too involved to cut ties. Wait, did you say the end of this week, this Sunday? Layla asked. Yeah, that's what Peter told us, Quinn replied. Layla was visibly shaken after she heard this news, but she forced her facial expression to remain neutral. The message she had received from one of the Pure agents was True Dream would be coming at the end of the week. One of the Pure group's biggest targets was True Dream. He was the whole reason why the military was able to keep such a strong grip on everyone. The reason why he was coming, of course, was to take students' abilities from them and add them to his men. And Peter had been selected as one of the targets. The sun had finally risen. A few people around the school had struggled to sleep through the night, and Layla was one of them. Throughout the whole night, she had been pondering how to inform the others. Every term, True Dream would visit a different military base. However, it turned out that he had visited a particular one more often than the others, and that was Military Base 2. This was the reason why Layla had been sent to this place. Something strange was going on with Military Base 2. They hadn't been able to figure out what yet, because so far every agent they sent had disappeared. Thus, they decided to do things differently this time, so instead of sending a grown-up, they decided to send an agent, who was at the age of the draft, a student. Layla had entered the school using false documents. Her family wasn't prominent, but she didn't mind if she was to lose her ability. She had only obtained it for the mission in the first place. The only thing that she didn't want was to end up like Peter and be the military's lapdog. She needed an outside person, where she could observe everything that was happening without getting involved. With all things said, she didn't have to warn them about what could happen, but Layla wanted to. The question left was, how should she go about explaining what she had discovered? The morning combat classes had started, and Layla had wanted to team up with Quinn, hoping she would be able to get a hint on what they were planning with Peter. Unfortunately, before she could even reach Quinn, he had already gone off to Vex. What are you daydreaming about? Aaron shouted. The two girls continued to train together using the lake techniques, but a slip in Layla's concentration caused her to drop her guard. She wasn't able to lift her knee in time, as how she would usually during practice, and instead, Layla took a full-blown kick from Aaron to her side. Ouch! Layla exclaimed as she dropped to the floor while gripping her side. What's wrong? We have practiced that kick so many times. I was sure you would be able to block something like that, Aaron said as she walked over and offered her hand to her fallen comrade. Layla lifted her hand to grab Aaron's, but the pain on her side hurt even more. Furthermore, she noticed a stinging pain arise every time she breathed. What the hell? I knew your sword skills were monstrous, but where did you get such strength in your kicks? I think you broke one of my ribs. Would you stop complaining? Aaron said as she knelt. Can someone call the guard and take her to the doctor's office? Leo said. Aaron then lifted Layla from the ground, allowing her to use her shoulder for support. Don't worry, I'll take her, Aaron said. The two girls then started to leave the room together. As they were walking, Layla couldn't help but feel useless and pathetic. Would you please stop crying? I didn't mean to hit you that hard. You usually block something like that, Aaron said, in an attempt to comfort Layla. Layla didn't even notice, since her thoughts were so muddled that tears were now slowly descending from her eyes. She wiped them away and simply put on a brave smile. "Oh, it's not that. I was just thinking about how useless I am to the team whenever we're in a fight," Layla said. "Well, you're not wrong about that," Aaron replied, not realizing how harsh she sounded. Although Aaron was right, it still hurt Layla to hear it straight from her mouth. "But you help in other ways. You were the one who thought about that blood bowl, remember? I can't say much, but honestly, if you weren't there to hold me back sometimes, I would have already shoved a few spikes up the boys' backsides." Layla laughed. "Aaron, this is kind of a strange question to ask, but are we friends?" Back at the training hall, the lesson had just finished for the day. "Hey, I know this is kind of strange to ask after everything that happened between us, but what are you planning to do after this?" Fex asked. "Me? I was planning to go to the VR gaming room," Quinn replied. "VR gaming room? What's that?" Fex asked, with a little bit of excitement in his eyes. "I can show you if you want. You want to come along?" "Well, I mean, if you want me to come that bad, sure," Fex replied. Fex was standing casually outside in the sun, and Quinn could see it didn't affect him at all. While Quinn had to prepare his trusty umbrella, seeing this, Fex couldn't help but giggle at the thought that Quinn looked like an old man. "What are you doing with that old thing?" Fex asked. "Do you not have a ring?" He lifted his hand, showing the small ring. Quinn was now close enough to see that it did look like the one in his shop. Quinn didn't know how to reply to Fex. The system had informed him that one of these rings were the basics of vampires. "Oh, I see now," Fex said. "You're one of those vampires raised here on Earth, aren't you? Trained to blend in and report back? I guess that's why you didn't go through the formal initiation and don't have one of these." "Was the initiation hard?" Quinn asked. Fex started to laugh nervously at this question. "Was it hard? Of course it was hard. Yet I was one of the youngest vampires to ever complete it. You see, the initiation is getting the materials for the ring itself. A young vampire must go out and slay 10 death bats." Fex finished, a little bit depressed. As they continued to walk to the VR center, Fex looked at his ring and felt a little guilty. He had lied to Quinn just now. He hadn't earned the ring like he said he did. He had gone out and traveled and fought against the death bat, but after a gruesome fight and near-death experience with one, he decided to go on to the marketplace and hire some travelers to hunt the beasts for him. With this, he managed to gather most of the crystals needed to make the ring. But his last traveler who accepted the contract never replied. In the end, it was all thanks to the Blood Evolver who placed the crystal in the marketplace that he was able to craft the ring. They had finally arrived at the VR room, and it was a sight that Fex had never seen before. They went to the counter, and Quinn paid for both him and Fex. They both got into the pods and logged into the game. Fex's whole mind was then transported to the large, empty white lobby space. Just as Fex was in deep thought thinking about it, he had received a friend request. "User ID Blood Evolver would like to add you." Fex carefully looked at each letter of the word in front of him one by one, that it was the same user ID that was also used in the marketplace when he had bought the beast crystal. When Fex first saw the crystal, he thought maybe someone had killed a bat along the way and didn't know what to do with it, and chose to sell it after finding out it could only be used to create a silly ring. But now, thinking about it more, all sorts of questions started running through his head. He accepted the friend request, and immediately Quinn was transported to the same white space that Fex was in as well. "Foxy Fex?" Quinn said, looking at his username. "What, you don't like it?" Fex said. "Better than Blood Evolver. What are you trying to do? Tell everyone out there you're a vampire?" Quinn laughed nervously back. "I thought it would be vague enough. Plus, who else but other vampires would think that?" Quinn replied. This was the confirmation Fex needed. While standing there and thinking about everything, Fex could see Quinn using his blood skills in the game. Not only that, but he was able to use them constantly without getting tired. "What is that?" Fex asked. "This?" Quinn replied. Quinn then explained how while in the lobby of the game, they were able to practice using their vampire skills without tiring out. After trying out a few skills here and there, Fex had a big grin on his face. He then started performing his martial arts while mixing in the blood skills. Still, what had impressed Quinn the most while watching him practice was the martial arts he was performing with his fists. When Fex had stopped, he walked over to Quinn with a hop in his step. "Hey man, this is great! I wonder why the vampires don't have a bunch of these in their buildings. It could help the kids train. That's right, You didn't learn any, did you, since you grew up here and everything? You know I can teach you the martial arts if you want. Fex thought this was a great idea. He wanted to repay Quinn for getting him the beats crystals he needed, and this could be his way of returning the favor secretly. Really? Would that be okay? Quinn asked. Why not? You're a vampire, so you have the right to learn it. Do you remember what I did to your friend on the roof? Well, if you let me do the same to you, then I can show you how to use martial arts. My string puppet is unique, so when you perform it, it will feel like I'm performing the skills through your body, Fex explained. What Fex was offering wasn't a bad proposal. The problem was whether or not Quinn could trust him with his body.
Hi, Quinn here. Wondering what happens next? If you want to jump the queue and unleash all episodes, click on the link here and install the Pocket FM app.
Is there a risk to this? Quinn asked the system. I think you should go for it, the system replied. In terms of other vampires, you're a bit weak and on the wimpy side. I think this would be a major progress for you. I'm talking about him taking control of me. What happens if it becomes permanent? It won't be. Vampires can't have other vampires as their puppets permanently. So there is the possibility he could use me to hurt those around me, even for a short period if he wanted to? That was when Quinn came up with an idea of his own. Let me think about it for now, Quinn replied. Why don't I show you how to play first? A match had been confirmed, and Fex was transported to the seating area in the arena. He could see Quinn standing on one end while his opponent stood on the other. His opponent was skinny, tall, and seemed to resemble a tree. What surprised him, though, was the fact that when he was sitting in the seating area, he wasn't the only one watching Quinn's fight. Hey, you're new, Nate said, looking at Fex. What is all this? Fex asked, looking confused. Is everyone here to see the two of them fight? He looked at the stand, noticing the crowd that had formed. There were 50 people in total, all dressed up in different avatars. Of course, it seems like Blood Evolver has gained quite a following, Nate replied. So, are you implying that all these people are here to see the Blood Evolver? Fex asked. What makes him so special? Nate thought about that for a while, looking deep in thought. After some time had passed, he finally came up with an answer. At first, it was his skills that interested me, much like everyone else here. But after that, I noticed something. Every time he came back to play the game, he would have grown in strength by leaps and bounds. And for some reason, watching someone grow from a small little fish into a fierce dragon is exciting for me, Nate explained, glancing at the match. Now let's see how much you've grown this time. The countdown for the match had begun, and it was time for the two of them to fight. Immediately, the tree-like student placed both of his hands on the ground. As he did, multiple thick tree roots started to form across the floor and spiraled their way towards Quinn. The first thing he did was perform a blood swipe at the roots, hoping to cut them down. As the attack reached the roots, it caused the first set to break, but it would keep coming forward. Windwalk activated. With his Tier 2 boots, he was able to outmaneuver the roots. Although there were many roots, and his blood swipes couldn't deal with all of them, he was able to outrun them with his speed. He circled the attack and came to the student's side, preparing himself to try something he had been itching to try out since he had joined the game. Flash Step! Performing the Flash Step, he avoided the attack and was now even closer to his opponent. Trees, protect me! The wood user shouted, and suddenly the user was surrounded by all sides with thick tree trunks. It was as if a forest had suddenly sprouted in the middle of the battlefield. This is perfect, Quinn thought. Stopping in his tracks, he firmly planted both feet on the floor. Then, from his toes, moving up to his hip, he swung out his leg like a whip. A single large line of red energy left with it, shaped like the crescent moon. It was far larger than that of his regular blood swipe. As it hit the first set of tree trucks, it managed to slice through them with ease. The tree user ducked down in time, avoiding the attack from cutting his head off. But Quinn wasn't done yet. He hopped and changed his stance slightly, performing the same kick with his other leg, cutting the trees down from the other side. Both sides of the tree trunks shook due to the slightly angled cut and fell to the floor. The wood user was now panicking, but before he could even act, Quinn was already above him, performing the final axe kick, followed by a blood swipe. Level 4 opponent has been defeated. 10 EXP gained, 80 of 100 experience points. Congratulations, a new skill has been created. Blood Crescent Kick. It seems like you have gotten stronger once again, Nate said. A new skill, but how? Quinn thought. Impressive, the system said. It seems like you managed to create a unique skill. This is a skill that you made all on your own, one that was not part of the system originally. Fex, having witnessed the whole thing, was quite amazed. Did he come up with that skill himself? Yet, he doesn't even know the basic hand-to-hand combat of the vampires. As he was deep in thought, he heard a laugh by his side. Looks like another one has been converted into a fan, Nate said. You wouldn't believe it, but every time he fights, he shows me something new. This kid is growing stronger fast. Every time? Fex replied. Are you sure he didn't just use these skills before? I'm positive, Nate replied. If what Nate was saying was true, Quinn was getting stronger at an incredibly fast pace, one that hadn't been seen throughout the history of vampires. Perhaps he is related to them. But I thought they all died out. If it's true, it would make sense why he has the shadow ability. Did they just move to Earth instead? Just as he was leaving the game, he had received a single message from Nate. I'll see you soon, and make sure you join the fighting event. Quinn knew exactly what he was talking about. The upcoming military base event. Soon all the bases would meet up to compete in special events, each trying to show that they were able to raise the best and strongest students. Quinn was excited for once. Perhaps with this event, he would finally be able to show his strength. Inside the VR gaming room, one of the pod doors was abruptly opened, and out stepped a fairly domineering man with a burly build physique. A month left, huh? I just wonder how much stronger you can get in that meantime, Nate said with a smile on his face. A few seconds later, a hissing sound was heard from the pod next to his. As the pressure was slowly released from the sealed door, it started to lift, and Nate saw a friendly face peeking in between the aperture. Hey, that guy keeps getting better in every attempt, doesn't he? Sam said. I don't even know if I could beat him in a real battle the way he is now. You shouldn't talk down to yourself like that, Nate replied. Remember, he's only a first year, and there are two major differences between the first years and the second years. One is our equipment, Nate said, pointing to the cape that was on Sam's back. And the second one is our soul weapons. I don't know many first years who have been able to produce a soul weapon, and it's only something that they teach you in your second year. The two of them started to walk back to their dorm rooms. It was already evening and getting late, so it was nearly time for them to go to bed. When the morning arrived, they began to do their normal routine. After eating breakfast, it was time for them to head to their homeroom class. As they entered the room, they felt the strange atmosphere that was hovering in the air. For one, the homeroom teacher hadn't arrived yet, and usually the homeroom teacher would be there to welcome their arrival. As they both listened carefully to the students who were engaged in their conversations, they managed to catch a few words. They eventually found out what all the commotion was about. Hey, did you see her? What, that new teacher? Yeah, she's so beautiful. I wonder how strong she is. Aren't all military tutors quite strong? Most, but not all of them. She might just have a unique ability or was very knowledgeable in a club subject. All of a sudden, the sound of the classroom door sliding was heard. Her skin was as white as the pure specks of snow. Although her features looked soft, no expression was plastered on her countenance. Still, the thing that stood out the most about her was her silver hair. She was wearing the black standard military uniform that they all had to wear. Hello students, my name is Silver, and I will be your new homeroom teacher from now on. Silver started to scan the entirety of the gathering, looking at the students one by one, but it merely reminded her that she might have to stay in the school for a while. As the file said, it appears that Fex isn't here. Silver had been tasked with the mission of finding and bringing Fex back to his family. Without saying anything, she started to walk around the room and gaze at the faces of the students more closely. Fex and I will complete my mission and bring you back, even if I have to hurt you, dear brother.
Hi, Quinn here. Wondering what happens next? If you want to jump the queue and unleash all episodes, click on the link here and install the Pocket FM app.
Pocket FM. To unlock all the episodes, click the link in bio.